Give you guys a heads up on what's been going on in the past. We'll drop the music down here a little bit. For the last 6 years, since late 2010, our Facebook group, let me rephrase that, has been watching the Nibiru planets come in because we ran around taking a lot of pictures for everybody, so everybody got an opportunity to capture what's really happening out there. Now, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of rumors going back and forth about a bunch of things and a whole bunch of piles and piles of disinformation. But I'm going to try and set a little bit of the record straight here. Let me get rid of the music here altogether. And I figured I'd give you guys a heads up on what's actually going on. Now, Nibiru is huge. It's passed Earth a couple of times. It's a deep, dark ocean blue. We've had some captures of land masses up close, etc., etc. And I'm also going to discuss today the base clouds of these passing planets, so you have the opportunity maybe to see them a little easier down where you're at. Now, folks at sea level, they're having a lot more trouble finding everything and seeing the shapes of the planets and the passings. And we're talking about close Earth passings. We're not talking about, oh, way out there in space, this tiny little thing, let me get out my telescope. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about close Earth passes. You don't need a welding lens. You don't need much other than dark gray sunglasses to see these things pass, because they're quite visible. You got to look for the round in the sky and the dark shadows. Now, a lot of times on these close passes, they'll come by and they'll just be this really weird dark color up in the sky. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the planets. Now, it's a lot messed up because of the overall, shall we say, chemtrailing and everything else that's going on, and fire, smoke, and everything else, and then just our common pollution. And it's like trying to look through a really dirty swimming pool while you're underwater, and it's kind of hard to see more than 10 or 20 feet away. So anyway, let's get on to this. Nibiru is a massive water planet. It's about approximately, now this is of course estimation and rumor, it's about 7 times the size of Earth. Currently, we don't get a good view of Nibiru because it's up and behind Saru. Saru has passed, Nibiru has passed, Uri and Atu are in the process of passing, but anyway, I'll get along with that. The best way I can describe this to you is that it came by in 2012 for a real close Earth pass, and a lot of us folks got a lot of really good photographs of it. Now, what you need to look for is tiny little circular clouds and stuff on the bottoms of these planets, because it's another atmosphere over. I mean, we see the stuff up in our atmosphere, and we see, you know, the cumulus nimbus and the stratus clouds and everything else. And above that, there's these tiny little clouds, and they all look like tiny little cotton balls. Well, those are the passing planets. Now, Nibiru has a finger-like base cloud, a bunch of fingers coming down like that. It's very dark blue. Okay, moving on. Saru came by behind Nibiru roughly 2011, 2012. Once Nibiru got into early 2012, it came in from the north and got bigger and bigger over toward the rising sun in the east first thing in the morning. Myself and Terrence, hi Terrence, how you doing? Haven't heard from you in a long time. Anyway, up in Polson, we both watched it every day coming in from the north, headed to the east. Then Nibiru went over to the right side of the sun, and a lot of you who know me know what I'm talking about, how they are moving and progressing from the left side of the sun to the right side of the sun. Okay, moving on. Saru is an ocean planet as well. Saru has a rather interesting, odd, open pole cloud that we've seen in a lot of pictures. It's not exactly like this arc, but that's kind of what I had to do to exaggerate basically what it looks like. Saru has these really uniform, wispy little finger, almost like folds on cloth on a curtain, and it has this little base cloud also that can be seen. Now, recently we've seen a lot of electrical illuminations along the bottom of Saru, and it's striking off into the object cluster group, which orbits on this side of Saru, down underneath. They come like this, and of course that will make more sense to you as we go along. And for those of you who've been on top of this with us here at Montana Skywatchers, I'm sure you understand. Now, Saru is an ocean planet. We haven't seen a lot of its land masses or anything, so I don't even know the depth of these oceans. But the reason that Saru is green-blue in comparison to Nibiru dark blue is it is believed that Saru's oceans are less deep. Okay, moving along. When we first saw Saru come in, and there's many illuminated circles that were coming in first from the north, and then they worked their way east. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the same illuminated bottom core also got bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've been watching that all the way up until 2014, 2015, where it started coming in larger and larger, and then went over the top of Earth, and then pretty much filled our sky all day long for literally 2014, 2015. Then she moved off into the distance and a little higher up into the north, and we're still seeing her to this day as a sky filler. But then she moves back and sets back at a harder angle away. Now, a lot of people don't understand this because the Earth is rotating as well. And they all think, okay, we're going to look out here, and we're going to look out there, and we're going to look over here. But it's literally, you got to look just straight up, because a lot of this stuff is happening right over the top of our heads. And it gets so big that people don't understand what they're looking at. They think they're looking at sky, when in actuality, they're looking at the bottom of the atmosphere of a major large planet. Anyway, so we're going to continue on here. I really appreciate all of you guys sticking with me and listening to the story. Now, the reason that we know what we know is because we've been doing this for 6 years, every single day. And rather than trying to rely on the single, grumpy moose cameras or the cameras in the Mediterranean or anything like that, we rely on our members. Our members are showing us pictures, and we know that comparatives, when there's a cloud in LA and a cloud in New York, and they're exactly the same cloud, there's no way that that's real. I mean, it can't be just a cloud. It has to be these planets, because at that distance between each other, it has to be something. It can't be just a cloud. It doesn't work. I'm sure that you understand at this point. Moving on. Anyway, Saru has the regulated fingered base cloud, and we can still see it on a regular basis. I saw it yesterday out my front door. Now, things, of course, they're spreading apart a little bit because they're really, really big right now. Moving on. All right, we saw Uri come in. And Uri is a very large gas giant. It has stripes across it. We've got many pictures with the darker one up in the top. Now, Uri has a really, really bubbly base cloud. When it comes in, everybody goes, oh, that's just momentous clouds. Well, these are massive, massive momentous clouds. They're way bigger than anything we ever normally get. Now, unfortunately, a good portion of our sky watchers have only been watching the sky for 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years. But this stuff has been going on for 6 years. And so to them, in a lot of cases, it seems just like normal sky. Well, it is not. Believe me, I've been watching the clouds all my life because I'm an artist, and a lot of this has to do with light and everything and why I see it. Now, Uri has this really, really bubbly cloud. Now, for some period of time, since about 2013, Attu and Uri, and the reason I'm circling here is because Attu has been sitting in front of Uri since, literally about 2014. Prior to that, it was on the side here, side there, and smaller, much smaller. Now, Jen down in Florida, thank you for all your wonderful pics, and all you other guys. And I'm not trying to forget anybody, but I'm trying to, also thank those that I forgot the last time. Anyway, okay, so we know Uri is a gas giant. It's gray. It's got stripes that are horizontal and has a bubbly base cloud. Now, when you see these momentous clouds over the top of you, and they're really scary looking, it's most likely Uri, and it's still coming in over the top of us on occasion. Now, we've been noticing that this runs into a 3 to 5 day cycle. It's really hard to get an accurate time because it doesn't run on a 24-hour cycle. From what I've seen and approximated, it's about an 18-hour cycle that these guys transition. Moving on. Okay. All right, Attu is purple, 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 purple. And when we see the skies outside that are very, very purple, and you're seeing sun effects and something really weird next to the sun, well, most likely when you look up in the sky and see purple during the daytime, and yet you even don't even see a planet, it is Attu in that area. Now, Attu has a funky little base cloud. It does the little momentous bubble clouds also when first entering and buffering against our way 300 mile out ionosphere. But overall, once it starts broaching below that area, Attu has what we refer to as like a snail foot. And a lot of you guys out there, Teresa Caldwell and a few other people know exactly what I'm talking about. We call it the snail foot, which is an automatic identifier that that's the base bottom of Attu. Now, a lot of times you may only just even see the snail foot and not actually see the overall planet. Anyway, Attu has these angled stripes. Now, we've got a lot of pictures out there. Sharon Arbic has captured numerous ones, and hopefully this will give her a heads up because some of those ones, she may not know that it's actually Attu off in the distance, but we've got numerous pictures of Attu over the years. Now, when Attu came in, roughly about 2013, and this was strange and new and different to us, and it came in big and hard and fast, and then all of a sudden we realized, hey, this is real, this is really happening, and this is falling into what we have been calling the Nibiru planets, and where we get the names from it. Now, the names came from a Pleiadian message that I received in 2009 off of YouTube. It was this video that was briefly here, and a lot of you have seen it, and we keep reposting it. And then it got banned in the United States, and then we brought it back from Germany from a friend of mine, and he sent me a copy of it, and we've tried to stick to it. As long as the Germans been on there, they haven't banned it this time around. Okay, moving on. All right. A lot of you guys have been seeing the red planet and the winged planet. Now, Saturn is bright, bright red, and it has come into close pass and was seen last year in close proximity coming in, especially in the Mediterranean by quite a few members down there, because they get a better view of it down there because they're right in the middle of the picture. Where we're here up in Montana, we're kind of at a different angle, and we only see out at like a graduated 37% angle, so it's really difficult to see these planets perfectly. But Saturn has a yellow moon that really, really affects its spatial. Now, sometimes it's here and sometimes it's here, depending on where you are on the planet. Now, it is assumed that there are at least 3 moons, because I've got a couple of pictures with 3 moons. Now, it could be smaller orbs flying around it to cover up its location, because we know that there are space chems as well as just standard chemtrails. Now, on occasion, the only thing you see is the illuminated bright yellow moon. Now, recently, we've seen it over here on this side of the sun, because Saturn has moved from the left side, where it was for literally most of its arrival time, and it was seen underneath Saru for a long time, but it was really tiny, so we didn't know what it was. We just saw it as a little tiny red thing. Anyway, Saturn came by and did a bunch of close passes, 2014 and 2015. All right. Now, remember, this is what causes the ion drag-off. It goes to the facial reaction because of proximity. It goes around the Saturn and creates the wings. And sometimes all you see is the ion-lit yellow moon and the wings. Okay, another way to tell a Saturn is it has this weird shadowing up in the upper corner, anyway, in the upper round up here. All right, that's the Saturn. It's red, and I believe this is where the iron oxide is coming from this ionization and burn off. Okay, moving along. All righty. Nepacity has been seen for about 3 years now, and we've got many, many really cool pictures. Tammy Barbie provided me one the other day with up in the sky. It was phenomenal, and it matches all of our information. Now, Nepacity is green. We believe it to be a volcanic planet with massive volcanoes on it, if you can see them from space, with these little dots. They're almost illuminated and bright in comparison. Now, Nepacity and Saturn traveled together on first orientation when they first came in, way underneath huge, massive Saru. And then they were small, and we thought, oh, okay. And then over time, they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, Saturn came in for a close pass in 2015, 2014, and then Nepacity traded places with her, because over underneath on the left-hand side, they do this rotational, where Uri and Atu do this rotational under Saru here on this side. Now, currently, Nepacity is very, very close to Earth and going over the top of us every day. There are times that it fills the entire sky from east to west. It's really hard to describe to you all of this, but this is what's occurring, because we've got a lot of pictures of a very large planet, and it's light, and it actually turns more blue when it comes into our atmosphere and buffers in, because of our water and our moisture and stuff like that. But anyway, we're getting a lot of pictures of this side of Nepacity, which is, the sun is usually on this side, and Nepacity has been illuminated, and we're seeing the land masses pretty much in these tiny little clouds all along, especially in this area, and many of you will have those comparative pictures. Okay, now, Nepacity's base cloud is kind of different than all the rest of them. It's got almost a snail foot, but it doesn't reach out to the right as much. It's got this core cloud at the bottom, sort of like a something on fish at the bottom of the sea that eat off the bottom. But this is like core cloud, and it is pretty much creating a good portion of our extreme weather currently. And it's running from the southwest to the northeast. And if you wonder about all that flooding we're looking at right now, this is where it's coming. Everybody's talking about the rain bomb. Well, the rain bomb comes from Nepacity. There's also a drag-off ion cloud going off from Nepacity all the way over to the bottom of Atu and Uri, and I've done a drawing, and a poor drawing at that, and I will attempt to draw more of it. But I'm trying to give you an idea of the base clouds of each of these planets. Now, Nepacity is actually smaller than Saturn, but because of its current location, it appears massive, almost like the size of Nibiru. It is not. It's one of the smaller anode-dominate planets. Okay, and last but not least, we have Metim. Metim is now coming in. It usually crosses the whole mass, and it's quite fast and quite small. Metim is a tiny little planet. It might even be smaller than Earth. It's bright blue, and that's why you see a little illumination blue here. I don't know how well the transfer of color comes through this video, but anyway, Metim is very blue, and I believe she's going to pass next. So, with that said, I would like to also say that I don't know about any base cloud of incoming, because I'm not sure as whether or not Metim has close passed or not. There are some pictures out there. I have a couple of them, and there's some close-ups, but there's a big debate still going on about that, and some people believe it's a moon of Saturn and all of or Jupiter and all of this stuff, and everybody's debating it. So I haven't posted those close-up pictures yet. Anyway, I put this together for you guys so that you get a better understanding, and for you newbies out there, and I apologize for calling you newbies, but that's become the happy little term. These planets have been passing by Earth literally since 2011, 2012. They are here. I'm sorry you're a little late for the show. I'm sorry that you missed a whole bunch of this stuff, but they are here. Now, it's very important to note that there's also some effect of the traveling object cluster group, which is coming in between and under these planets, and it's getting massive. I've had some pictures the last couple of days that I'm having troubles even believing what we're seeing, and I don't want to make a call, but they're the main lead object group, or main lead object of the object group, is it's got some furry little outreaches on, and some stripes on clouds, and it appears to be a different color every once in a while. A lot of the times it can be red, and a lot of times it can be blue. Now, I don't know which is which because there's a whole bunch of objects with this group. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We'll talk about the object cluster group on another occasion. Anyway, this is the big heads up. I'm going to keep it down to 20 minutes. And aloha from tropical Montana. And hopefully I've informed you enough to know that this is real, and we're working on it, and we've got good pictures from all the members. And we're not making this up. This is actual number, I mean hundreds and hundreds and thousands of pictures coming in, and anyone who's new to this subject should really get on board and listen to us, because we're not making this up. We're not trying to sell books, we're not trying to sell t-shirts, we're not trying to make any money off you, we're trying to inform you. So anyway, that's long enough, and I've rambled on. Hey, everybody out there, I really appreciate your memberships, and I appreciate your friendship and all your support, and I thank you all for commenting on my accuracy rate. This has just been an amazing ride, and I really appreciate you, and I'd like to keep us all together, and let's stop the infighting and finger pointing. We need to group together and do the right thing. Aloha from tropical Montana. Take care, everybody. Give you guys a heads up on what's been going on in the past. We'll drop the music down here a little bit. For the last 6 years, since late 2010, our Facebook group, let me rephrase that, has been watching the Nibiru planets come in, because we ran around taking a lot of pictures for everybody, so everybody got an opportunity to capture what's really happening out there. Now, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of rumors going back and forth about a bunch of things, and a whole bunch of piles and piles of disinformation. But I'm going to try and set a little bit of the record straight here. Let me get rid of the music here altogether. And I figured I'd give you guys a heads up on what's actually going on. Now, Nibiru is huge. It's passed Earth a couple of times. It's a deep, dark ocean blue. We've had some captures of land masses up close, etc., etc. And I'm also going to discuss today the base clouds of these passing planets, so you have the opportunity maybe to see them a little easier down where you're at. Now, folks at sea level, they're having a lot more trouble finding everything and seeing the shapes of the planets and the passings. And we're talking about close Earth passings. We're not talking about, oh, way out there in space, this tiny little thing, let me get out my telescope. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about close Earth passes. You don't need a welding lens. You don't need much other than dark gray sunglasses to see these things pass, because they're quite visible. You got